Dr. Bansidhar Panda is a name synonymous in India with ferroalloys. Odisha has only one industry built by a man of Odisha, which is of international repute. It is ferroalloy, and the man is Dr. Panda. Coming from a rich family with equally rich sense of Odissan and Indian culture, he has been able to carve a niche for him, both in the industrial and cultural fronts in the country. As a classified scientist, he was among the few then in USA, but came back to Odisha to see his dreams brought into fruition, and came the ferrosilicon industry in the early part of the 60s of the last century in Raigada. The charged chrome came a bit later at Chaudhar. Dr. Panda works round the clock and never grumbles when he is to face oddities. Good morning, Dr. Panda. It is wonderful to see you here. We'll have a few questions to ask you. Would you a little bit tell us something about your childhood, about your parents?
Well, if you want, I'll give you just flashes, because I have so much time. Besides the other family with my father, as I said, whether I go to my Chatsali, he takes me with me. He's a big man, he was a Zamindar himself, you see, and I was Zamindar's son. And whether I go to Cuttack to study in collegiate school, when I grew up, he will have a special boat for me. I will not go in the general boat, because after all, he's a Zamindar, special boat, special everything mine. But he will be with me all the time, taking me to the boat, accompanying in the boat, and then takes me virtually up to the gate of collegiate school, then leaves. Then when I come back, unless he's very busy, he again collects me back, even though I was grown up by that time. Not to spend because of attachment, but to keep on giving me advices. I'll give you an example, the type of education I got at that young age from my father. Everybody's father is important to him because he's a natural guru. He's not a Diksha guru, he's a Shiksha guru. He's not a Diksha guru where you take from this cult or that cult, and not only you are the Shishya, but your whole family, your next generation. So that education you will not get in university. For example, when I'll be boarding my own boat, my father and myself, our own boat, beautiful boat, and many other big boats, people will be going passengers to Cuttack in the river Karjori, very ferocious river. My father will ask me, I was very young at that time, why these people in the boat, including the boatsman who is running the boat and the passengers, are saying Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Very difficult for a 7-8-year-old child to say why they are saying Hari Bol. They are saying Hari Bol, I know. He will give me reply. That's what the real teacher's job. He will first give the chance to the student. These days they don't do it. Then he gives the reply. I have employed for you the best, and the boatmen which is bigger boats, they are even better, because they have, in the most difficult waters, they have run that. And their boats are brand new because of the ferociousness of this, ferocity of this river. In spite of all their experience, boat is new, they are most experienced in the field, the best, they are not very sure all that ability and talent can safely put himself and his passengers to the other side. So they say, have faith on somebody else beyond us. But the next question he will say, this is where the education part comes. Suppose they will keep on saying Hari Bol like they are doing now, and they don't put the oars, the ahula, they don't do it. Would the boat go to the other side? Very quickly, before even his question ends, I will say, certainly not. He said, life is like that. You have to have both. You have to do your duty very perfectly and yet have faith. When this two combination comes, I don't think any university has taught me. Thank you.
That's a wonderful question and answer brought out by your revered father. And this training, I'm sure, has, if properly when guided up for people, can certainly go a long way for these youngsters to come.
I can give hundreds of thousands of examples because I spent so much time with him.
You were always with him.
Because at a very young age I went out. You see.
Yes. Again, would you be able to slightly tell something about your graphs on aims, ambitions, what you thought at that point of time, and how they have come up, and if there have been any change later?
Since I was born in the Zamindar family, and Zamindar families are very powerful. I found they are more powerful than kings, from my experience. My father actually didn't have full control of the whole situation. He was the fifth brother among the 6 brothers. So the eldest brother of the Zamindar family, who was my father's eldest brother, he controlled everybody's fate, destiny. So for me, because of my voice, because he saw, I don't know, my father was the 5th brother, you see, said that this child should only sit in Bhagavat Tungi, recite only Puranas, Bhagavatas, Upanishads, Vedas, not for his own discussion, but for others to discuss. But his voice is so nice the others will be very happy to discuss based on his reciting. So my destiny was fixed through my father's eldest brother, but destinies can change.
Yes, quite true.
And I was not supposed to see an English school. Look where destinies took me, from village Charsali to the best English school of Odisha, Remsa College School, from where Subhash Chandra Bose has come, all your who and who have come, not only for Odisha but for the whole nation and world. And you'll be surprised, they gave me the best student prize. I think after Subhash Chandra Bose I was cited, came up close to somewhere recently. But these dreams are, you can dream. And I think I can have a separate answer on the dreams, what it affects.
Yeah.
But
And
I am today, I have taken several garbs. From a Chatsali person, Sanskrit person, I didn't pursue Sanskrit very much. Then to Remsa College School, then to Benares, where the Sanskrit was main thing. I have taken different garbs at different time, but the basic theme remains, like all of us have dreams, I had dream. Otherwise life doesn't exist without a dream. You may say that those who have special dreams, there are many who have special dreams.
yes, certainly.
And if they can implement a part of their special dream, they become geniuses. I have special dreams, that I can assure you. But I'm trying my very best, all this, from my birth until now, it's nearly 70 years it's going to be now. I'm trying to implement a small part of my special dreams. Normal dreams are for the person's, his own benefit, his family benefit, or immediate members of the family. Special dreams has no limitation.
That's exactly. I'm so happy you have also almost answered to my third question. I was asking you about dreams. And would you then please elaborate about your dreams, normal dreams, special?
If I have answered in advance to some of your question, that's what has been my lot from every field I've taken. In study, I was far ahead of my colleagues. Even science, I was far ahead of my then colleagues. And even in industry, I thought 40 years ago, what you saw in my work in 43 years ago started in Odisha, which the nation is even trying now and has not been able to complete. I'll have my own communication, own power plant, own technology, own everything, own transport, nothing dependent on government. It was considered to be a sin even to think in that line 40 years ago. So my jumping guns in thought process is well known, for which I have fought very hard.
That you have done all the time, which one I have also seen you from distance. And most of your dreams, I'm sure, have come true.
Special dreams, as I said, it's very difficult to define a particular dream. For example, when I was sitting as a fundamental research scientist in the most advanced country of USA many, many years ago, they would give me the best atmosphere to work, because fundamental scientist doesn't work to regulated office hours or in regular office, wherever his mind will be at rest, beautiful sceneries and all that. And while doing my work completely, otherwise you won't be a fundamental scientist, you see.
True, very true.
I would be dreaming. That's what the special dream I can explain at best, you see, through those panoramic windows and beautiful sceneries outside. Because that is meant to
Think.
equanimity, the peace in it.
That's
Otherwise
right.
he can destroy also.
That's right.
He
That's
can not
right.
only create, he can destroy
Very true,
also.
very
you see.
true.
There I was dreaming that I wish that my country, and particularly my state, should have, if not the whole gamut of things they have, which I see, at least part of it, where I am helping that country, can I not help? And that is the dream probably which brought me here unexpectedly back to Odisha.
Yes, that's possible. Yeah.
That is
That's-
to change people for better. Change people means not as human beings. Many people, many big leaders say that there are many people, but we have to teach them how to be human beings. They are not human beings. I think that's a preposterous assumption for me. I have no right to create a human being.
That's
I
right.
cannot even create a fly, forget about a human being. All I need, I can assist with my thought for them to change for better. You know, maybe a miniature Gandhi, maybe a miniature Ramanujan, maybe miniature Einstein. I'll try for those things. Those are my special dreams.
It's true. Does it mean that, Dr. Panda, that from being a classified scientist, you are in USA for a long time, leaving all these fascinating jobs there? What prompted you to come back to Odisha? That too for setting an industry in a place which is very remote, you know.
You see, when you are from study to higher education, and you teach in universities, when you do your higher education, you also
Sure.
teach. They're all professions.
That's right.
And then you go for real fundamental research. it is very difficult to change to another profession. But as I said, this is where I can only explain destiny brought me here, because I had, the research which I was doing 60 years ago or 50 years ago, at that time it was 25 years ahead of time from Britain, a neighboring country of theirs. So there is no possibility of my coming back to India to do research, because even today we don't have enough money, or where there is money, people don't spend money in fundamental research. Industries just make money, spend very little on research. You know that very well.
Yes, that's true.
Government doesn't have money for many things, you see. So there was no incentive for me to do research, for which I came back. It was a call from my own government. That's the government of India. The very first Prime Minister of Government of India. He noticed, maybe from some source, from something, whatever I might have done, and I couldn't come immediately, but later on I was persuaded to come and do something for the country. I chose Odisha because of my special dreams about Odisha, which is part and parcel of India anyway.
That's exactly true. Thank you. It's been a very, should I say, as a classified scientist, you have a very classified answer as well. I should say that way. In 1961, you initiated Empire Theru Valley, a remote tribal area of Odisha. Please recall your trying and testing time.
I wanted to go through the industry route to help first myself, because I didn't want to be employed by anybody, to be self-sufficient. Hence, although I was not an industrialist at any point of my life before that, from my own knowledge as a scientist, I wanted to start an industry. Of course, since I was virtually the honored guest of the country, I could have asked for the most comfortable area with all infrastructures to start industry. Like even today, all industries say, unless you give me this, I won't even think of industry. And not that it was not offered to me. But I recognized I would be rather consuming whatever little effort the nation has done for its common people, rather than contributing anything to the people of India, and particularly people of Odisha. Then why choosing tribal area? I had never been to tribal area in my life before that. But a scientist's mind is a very inquisitive mind, like a small child. I thought, how do these people live? And if you remember, I knew some people when I was in America who had some establishment in those Raigad area, and I went to see that area, and I found a ghastly situation. The tribals are living much worse condition than animals, because animals are better equipped to fend for themselves. Men were totally without any clothes. Women, if they had any clothes, that's because when they could afford a little bit. No food, only whatever they will collect from the forest. You must be knowing that better, being a geologist. And they had to fight with animals to have their food, isn't it? Then it struck to me that I have worked in the most advanced countries, both in England and America. How come the British ruled, forget I'm not going to the other empires, Mughal Empire, Hun Empire, but the British ruled at least for 200 years. How come they didn't reach this area, which was part and parcel of their responsibility? And by that time I came, India was independent for nearly 20 years at that time. They have not reached at all that area. And Odisha government was very much in position, even during British time and after independence. I was told officially, if a junior officer will be transferred to that area, Koraput, he would rather, officer or any rank, he would rather resign than to go there. So a scientist, when he makes up his mind, he makes up on the spot. I decided if any area I will tackle to develop for the benefit of my nation in general and for my state in particular, this is going to be my workplace.
That's really true. It has seen a big change now. A sea change has come in there.
Trials of tribulations, if you want it, I'll give you, or you want that to be elaborated?
Well, certainly a little more.
Well, they'll be so numerous that even hundreds of hours of recording cannot cover it, you see. But I must tell you, of course, people now see I have an all-weather airport there with all facilities. All VIPs land there from all over the world and India. But to go from Bhubaneswar to that area, because I didn't stay with them immediately, I had an old car of mine when I was a student in Odisha. My father gave me an imported American car, a Ford, which was still lying there, an old car. Many people used it, never repaired. I used to repair it and drive myself to that area. Took 2 days to reach from Bhubaneswar to the area where the factory is today. Where today I can reach in 20 minutes time with my jet plane, you see. And question of a phone doesn't arise, question of anything, you know that. So 2 days of driving was such horrible roads. You need actually a physiotherapist to recover. So I'll drive for 2 days, work for 1 day, again drive back for 2 days, because I have to handle everything alone, you see. Can any trials and tribulations would be worse than that? For a scientist, when he sneezed, he had special doctors, special everything for him, you see.
From that state coming to this is really...
This is one of the extreme things. I stayed there 5 years without any construction, while
I know
construction
that,
was going on for others, in a fire ring, open sky, and tigers, you know how many. In the daytime, they'll be just roaming about, and one tribal at night just guarding me outside that fire ring. So this is the starting point. Rest I need not explain.
I know that, yes. You were physically and mentally involved in all the works. While surveying in the dense forest area of Koraput then, you were roaming without even a gunman. The human death caused by animals were around 1 a day at that point of time, approximately. Would you please elaborate on your faith and single-mindedness?
I would give a simple answer. Just imagine Mahatma Gandhi. Everybody knows for next maybe 3, 4, 5 centuries we won't get a man like that. Suppose he knew when he changed his venue of work from South Africa to India that one of his most faithful disciples is going to shoot him down in public. I think he would have hesitated really to change his venue of social service. So I think by intuitionally I had no instinct whatsoever to find out what will be the roadblocks. If you think of roadblocks, like I give a joke about the Indian roads. Of course, now it is improving rapidly.
That's true.
Indian roads, I give a joke. Breakers, speed breakers, speed barriers. So I used to say that whenever a patch of smooth road comes when you're driving, that should be notified. Now you'll pass through a smooth road.
That's
the whole system was speed breakers, you see. So that's why I didn't want to analyze how many speed breakers are there in my life to work in that area.
You are almost... The map shows that you have almost nothing. Were all the support system at that time was made available to you?
Absolutely nothing. Even today, the only industry in our country, or maybe rare also in the world, who does not take anything from the government. On the contrary, the government uses my roads, government uses my planes, my helicopters, my electricity, my transportation system, my communication system. I depend on nothing on the government except the mining lease on which I depended, because the rest I have prepared from my brain power as a scientist, except for the mining lease, because the brain power could not create a mine. More than 14 years to get it. So I do not depend on anything from the government infrastructure, because we are large number of people here struggling for minor facilities. If I demand, they will be compelled to give me, like all other businessmen, all other educated people, all other industrialists are demanding. States should give beautiful power plants with virtually no price, big port facilities virtually free.
That's true.
If I demand any part of that, my people of Odisha will be deprived, rest of the people of Odisha. It's not the government. I'll take out from those very people who are oppressed and below poverty level. I do not want anything to share from the common kitty. I want to contribute to the common kitty.
That's a wonderful thought process. Contextually, can you throw some light on the then industrial scenario of the nation, or the state in particular? Nation in general, you can think.
Well, when I came in 1961, our whole country's economic system was controlled by the then thought process of the Fabian social economy. Fabian, that is in between the communist and socialism. You had partially very little privatization, but mostly all controlled by the government. And that promoted only public sector undertakings which could not achieve the goal. So even after 55 years of independence, they are all being dismantled, as you know, or being privatized. Although some of them have done well, majority. In Odisha, the question of industry today is in big question mark. That's because Those who come here in the name of industry, to common people maybe, or it is apparently looks like an industry, they are basically traders. Even big industries who come here, they are no different than what East India Company used to be for India. And
Yes.
they take your resources, value add elsewhere. Sometimes within the country elsewhere, as far as Odisha is concerned, it makes them Odisha even poorer, or they take it outside the country altogether, and which way it is different than East India Company or the British Raj, different.
That's true.
So the question of industry, when I say, it is not you just put a signboard, industries, IT industry. Now you have universities in every villages, you see. High form MBAs and degrees. When Oxford, Harvard will be scared. Well, industries in Odisha are those nameplates. So many industries. That's all. We have declared ourselves, we are in the path of very big industry now, but that has no industry.
It's true. And as a matter of fact, in Odisha, no one man of Odisha has been able to do anything except you. I must say that.
Well, value addition is a very difficult task. You know, as a geologist,
yes.
if you want me to elaborate, I will take 1 minute. I fought 14 years to get chrome lease, which
Yes,
was
I know.
which was denied to the local company which served the local people. But Supreme Court finally gave me 42 million tons, not individually to me, for this industry, because it's the largest in Asia, you see. Of course, the very fact, even only half of that. But suppose I sell this ore outside Odisha or outside India, I'll be multi-billionaire, bigger, richer than Bill Gates, or much bigger.
It's true.
Then why I'm not doing it? Then I have no right to call that I'm value adding, I'm industry, I'm changing society. But
That's
all
very
others
true, yes.
have tendency to do it, isn't it? And do it also.
But I understand you do it, you value add right in this place. You don't take it even outside.
Value addition costs tremendous amount. There's no money in it, you see.
That's right.
By selling ore, raw ore, you'll be a billionaire.
That's right.
By converting it to all products to give employment, exchange, all sorts of facilities to the society, you become the poorest. Well,
That's true.
That's what happened to Madhusudan Das, was the first industrialist of Odisha.
That's true.
And Mr. Biju Patnaik wanted, before he became minister, chief minister, all those things, he wanted also value addition in whichever form. He became even equally bankrupt. So if I have not gone bankrupt yet, of course there is great effort to make me bankrupt, and I don't mind.
This, of course, means that infrastructure was not certainly ready for the industry then, and even they are not very much ready to accept things even now.
Not at all. They are now thinking.
You are a scientist engaged in fundamental research. Dr. Panda, how could you transform yourself as an industrialist?
As I said, this is one thing where I have to give full credit to destiny, a word which is not in the dictionary of scientists.
They have slowly started believing that.
Yes, right now only because they find, in spite of their best effort,
Yes.
something happens which is beyond all knowledge. But coming back to your original question, coming from fundamental science to industry, I have just addressed the physics seminar where all of the physicists from the country and abroad were there. They say, what is physics interface with industry in the 21st century? That's exactly what you're asking me, answered there already. You are not there because you're not physicists, they didn't call you. Fundamental research takes care of the requirement of a society hundreds years in advance. It has no immediate application even for ordinary things.
True.
And then after fundamental research, a small part of it goes to applied research.
Very true.
There's a big gap between them, you see.
Yeah.
Applied research has application within 10 years of whatever they are doing. They're also very big scientists.
That's true.
Then from applied research, you translate it to pilot plant experimentation. Not from fundamental research, from applied research.
True.
Look at the gap. And then from pilot plant, a very small percentage can be upgraded to a regular plant, which is industry. You know about that also.
That's true.
So for a fundamental scientist like me, to be in industry, I finally, after giving my speech, professional speech, I said, you are talking about interface of which science? We have no money even to do fundamental research even today. Neither industry does it, nor government has started only, you see. And applied research also is limited because there are no resources to do it. Where are the industry who would support it, you see? Then you are talking about interface of science, physics with industry. Then finally I told them, I am the interface. From fundamental science to applied science, also I have worked in applied science labs
True.
all over the world.
Yes.
Then I have, pilot plant has to be put up first, isn't it?
Yes, I know that.
And then today in India, I'm talking of Indian context, science, forget about physics or geology or metallurgy, interface with the modern industry of 21st century in India, I had to declare I'm not egoistic person like that. I am the interface. See my transformation from fundamental scientist in the garb of an industrialist.
Yes. I think that was a wonderful answer. Did you say therefore that goodbye to research?
Not at all. Industry was not. I put up industry not because I received any help or assistance.
Yes.
I put industry in spite, not instead, you see, of
That's
research.
right.
Because I maintain my research work, except last 5 years. I maintain my labs, both abroad, and here my whole units have research.
Research units.
I brought the biggest research people from America, and they worked in Therubali for the silicon metal of the future, you see. So I have not replaced my nature to industrialist. I still not behave like an industrialist in many respects.
What you told is very correct, that you are the interface. That has been very good, really. Why two ferroalloy industries and one thermal power unit till date, when you have good people in industry all around? I mean, why not more?
And that will be a very sensitive issue. In fact, all the products of IMFA group, whether it's ICCL, IMFA, all its mines, many departments, divisions,
Yeah.
they're all based on no borrowed technology. It's all developed in-house.
Yes.
From my brain, of course, lots of scientists work on it, engineers. Everything is indigenous. And its products are, all its departments, all its products, starting from mines to power plant to ferroalloys to metals and everything, is highest in international standard, recognized. So we could have become the greatest multinational company in these fields of silicon metal and chrome, whose applications are not ordinary applications. It has three major areas of application: silicon and chrome.
Yes.
In space, in defense, and in environment. These three can be controlled by these two products. Your catalyst in the car, which controls the European standard of emission and all that, is a chrome catalyst, you see.
Yes.
And silicon, now you'll shortly have cars running by silicon chips, without any petrol, without anything.
Yes.
So can any product be more important than which controls space, defense, and environment? Human being cannot live unless environment is controlled. So my field of research, which I have translated into industry, could have grown internationally as the biggest. But as I told you earlier, I would have been an entrepreneur if I was thinking 10 years ahead of my time. I thought 40 years ahead of my time or 42 years ahead of my time. So there is resistance to change for anybody who thinks 42 years ahead of his time.
That's exactly true.
Whether it's a Gandhi, whether it's Einstein, whether it's whoever thinks that far ahead, there is resistance to change. And in scientific language, resistance to change is inversely and geometrically proportional to backwardness. Suppose you resist to be transferred from Cuttack to Bhubaneswar, your progress will be, your resistance is in the scale 2. Your progression will go down by 4, inversely, geometrically.
That's right.
And if your resistance is 4, it will be 16. If it is 8, 64.
64.
And I have seen people in my state, they would not go even a change from one area of Cuttack to another area of Cuttack. Whereas Americans admit that we are the brainiest people in the whole world. They are not brainiest, they don't claim they are the brainiest. But a top executive, say chairman or vice chairman, if he is transferred from New York from all comforts to Timbuktu or Africa, or he packs same evening and leaves for that country next morning. We complain, we want to be like them, the progress-wise, but our resistance to change in every field is simply unbelievable.
Wonderful. This leads me to ask you about the expansion or competition and problems of IMFA.
Well, it took me 14 years, very unpleasant task of fighting against my successive governments, Not because an individual, it's the system. Said that yes, traders can have any amount of mines, of any precious things, starting from your diamonds and whatever you are a geologist, from chrome.
That's
Chrome
true.
is the most precious thing for any national development, but not when a scientist who was invited by them puts up the industry. It was not. I had to fight 14 years and through courts of law.
Could IMFA have diversified like Tata's or other industrial houses?
Well, in our field, as you know, it's of course sub judice now, I have to, without any prejudice to their rights and our rights. You probably do not know that in this industry, the largest house of the industrial house in this country, before of course later on some Tatas, for generations you see. And in this industry, they used to pay me 5 crores a month for my technology, to take my product. Of course, that has been rescinded, so we are in court of law. I can't elaborate any further. So they would have been diversified also to much higher, of course, at that time, because big houses who had all the facilities, all the manpower, money, and they had the mines also. But we could have diversified much more because mine is a knowledge bank, you see. And
Yes.
knowledge has no limitations of diversification.
That's true.
Maybe you could have joined, Birlas could have joined, like Tata joined hands with me. They have been the closest friends for a long time.
IMFA has been trying to project itself as a benevolent organization by instituting awards in the fields of literature, sports, etc. Is it out of a sense of social commitment or publicity exercise or personal ecclesiastical pleasure and happiness of yours?
I have never done any public or social work to further the business. I go even extreme that the complaint against me, I am so low key. Nobody has ever seen me in a television. Hardly you see me in a press conference. You are seeing me for the first time in All India Radio. It was organized when I came in 1960s. At that time also I checked out of it because I am very low key. And the question of using them furthering my industry doesn't arise at all because I do it, most of the things, incognito. A few trusts, of course, I have. They cannot do it incognito, but I do personally incognito. It is never to further the industry. But that is the trend all over the world, to further this latest trend. They do a lot of social work. I simply do not approve of this. Because when I try to help an individual or a group or something, I have never considered it as I am helping them. I feel myself grateful that whoever the creator gave me that opportunity didn't give you for that particular job.
That's a very succinct and beautiful answer. I know about that personally, but I was asking so that others would hear it right from your mouth. That would
Everybody
be-
has a personal philosophy and I believe in that.
That's wonderful. Often it happens, but even many people have told me, I have noticed also at times, that a man coming from your house or your office radiates satisfaction. What do you really do to him?
I just reflect back his own radiation which he didn't recognize before he met me, you see, for those few minutes. I'm a mirror. Because the same soul which is inside him, with the conscious, subconscious mind expression, is within me. So maybe it was a little bit some grease or somebody sprayed, and I just, while talking, I found that I cleaned up that little bit in my mind, you see. And then he saw his own love and affection in, it's a reflection back. I have consistently said, many people have asked me, why you are popular many places, but why Orias treat you as Orissa, people of Orissa, I don't mean only here, treat you as an icon, even officially asked also, by big organizations, by big people who like these organizations, you see, from abroad also. I said, I simply love them so much, they are reciprocating with my love. And I advise anybody, whether it's a big organization come from abroad or from here, that if you love the people of Orissa, 10% of what I do, they will also treat you as an icon. So where is my contribution? Is that just... So when they come and meet me, well, I'll give a very big journalist one came to give a little interview for 15-20 minutes, about 2 years ago. And after that, he was so impressed with my whatever his professional work was. He said, can I spend some time? I'll not give any name, of course. Personally, because this will be of interest to you. I'm speeding up, of course. I can speak very fast, you see. And he said, I have said all extempore speeches that it's all positive thinking. There cannot be any pain, there cannot be any problems and all that. But he said, at this moment, how do you explain that? He says that at this moment I am under tremendous pain. Give me a formula how you say that I will not feel it. So I said, then you have to discuss. This is a personal question after this thing over. I said, tell me where the pain consists. Is it physical pain? Is it mental pain? Or is it beyond that? Maybe a psychological pain, maybe a spiritual pain, you see. He was stunned first. He said, what difference does it make? I said, I'll tell you. I said, coincidentally, because I gave you time, and when your time came, I have twisted my feet. It was so painful, I was not able to get up from my bed. So I came and discussed with you. You are asking me intellectual questions as a famous journalist. And when I'm discussing with this, I totally forgot that pain in my foot, which was so badly twisted, because I'm in a different plane. When I'm talking in intellectual level, the physical pain is gone. And similarly, I have noticed in the past, if I have intellectual conflicts, I discuss in a spiritual atmosphere with people who are full of spiritual knowledge. I forget both physical and intellectual problems or mind problems. But I said, unfortunately, other way around is not possible. You cannot cure your mental problems by giving a big massage to your leg.
Yeah.
Spiritually, I am not talking about ritually, spiritually.
That's right.
When you must have read, when our rishis, sadhus went into samadhi, they are not dead. They are more alive than any of us, you see.
Yes.
But nothing can touch them, no stress, no pain. So that is my solution, that you raise yourself, because you are not a body only.
That's true.
You are components of so many higher things. That level of pain is gone. So that is my cure for pain. Otherwise, if I give you 60 injections, you may not survive next day also. Not that many people don't do it, you see. A very famous cardiologist who comes once in a while to play bridge with me. Sometimes I play 20 minutes, half an hour bridge also, you see, for
I know that,
continuous work. He said to this physics society, foreigners came, and a very big man went to the cardiologist here in Bhubaneswar, saying he has some problem. Then cardiologist found out that he's taking some 30 pills every day. So he said, I told him, he's from, of course, US or something like that, and he said, I told him immediately discontinue 28 of them, then I can treat you. So if you have any pain, let me know whether you want 30 pills or you would like to be raised to the next higher level.
Yes. Dream, vision, passion for work, all personified makes Dr. Bansidhar Panda. Don't you feel ever satisfied and accomplished?
Dream, passion,
and vision.
Yes. You see, I'll tell you, I have already explained, from the moment we are born, from the moment the child touches the mother's body, the dream starts. I took a psychology course, by the way, in postgraduate level.
Yes.
So dream is a part of life. Now, special dreams we have talked about previous questions. Some of them become visionaries if they can implement part of it, you see.
That's right.
Now, a passion, I think without appreciation for beauty and passion, it's like taking any curry without no salt, no the sprinklings, nothing.
Spices.
It's like drinking the hot water, you see. So you say you are taking a curry, there is no salt, there is no pepper, there is nothing is there, you see. And passion, people take very differently. Passion, they think, is to love somebody so intensely. They are talking of physical love. That's not passion.
Passion for what?
That is, no. You see, physical passion, there is nothing wrong. If it's you have somebody who is very close to you, don't you have passion for your son?
Certainly.
You have passion for your wife, you have passion for your daughter, isn't it?
Sure.
Any work you do without passion, I think it's not worthwhile doing it. So why taking the curry, hot water, saying I'm taking 10 varieties of curries, you see. That is about passion. Passion and beauty are interlinked, you see. People attracted to a very young lady, young, beautiful lady. And if you do that with a proper passion and realization of beauty, it's the highest form of tapasya. But they don't do it that way, you see. They put in the wrong groove. So beauty, I was explaining at all levels, from high elite audience to common men. There's nothing wrong to be beautiful. There's nothing wrong looking at a beautiful lady. It's created. Because if you read Upanishad, the creator is saying in our Sanatana Dharma that where he sits in the beauty of a lady. And so many things. I sit here, and all that. As long as you do not want to trample that beauty, you see. Like a flower, rose flower, some of them are so beautiful. I get in trance by looking at them. Nehru used to get in trance.
It's true.
But suppose you bring that and just, I like it so much and do like that, what happens to that beauty? So now I have stepped up my spiritual concept, being a physicist. Beauty is not should be properly appreciated. I define beauty. Beauty, so many people have poets and philosophers. Beauty is the main thing. Radha Krishna, all that beauty, all about beauty, isn't it? This is my own.
That's true.
My concept of beauty for me, which I would like to spread if it's possible, but it's a very new concept, because my concept. Beauty is a realization. It's a complete realization only. It's like realizing a creator or realizing something. Once you realize beauty, you don't have to define how you should behave with that beauty, how you should utilize that beauty. That is the final stage you must take. Beauty in everything, beauty in work, beauty in appearance, beauty in all sorts of things. So my concept, once you realize, beauty is self-realization.
That's true.
Somebody who has realized God, like many sadhus claim that we have realized God, isn't it? I think beauty is no less than God. If you are striving for lives after lives for realization of God or Creator, try to realize beauty, you'll get the same thing.
That's true.
And passion has to be there to achieve it. Because passionately, the Hare Krishna people or the Krishna, look at the sadhus, how they dance, they're doing with passion. But too much of anything without balance will not lead to the proper path. You must have total realization. For example, if you only remain in samadhi all the time, it has its good effect on you. Maybe you'll do nothing for the society.
It's true.
If you're only working with passion, without any value system, the samadhi sometimes gives you some about a value system, you are equally bad. I mean, bad means you're likely to do harm to the society. I'm not saying bad, there's nothing like bad or good. So once you have a balance between karma yoga, jnana yoga, and bhakti yoga, all these questions you are asking will be integrated. Have a balance between the three.